enjoy this next talk. JP, are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes!
Are you ready? Ladies and gents, we have the 10 Commandments from Toca Boca. Get ready to take some notes, kick the tires, light the fire, start your cameras. JP.
Thank you, Warren. You're making me nervous looking at me like that. Please close your eyes for a moment. No, let's do it. Makes me feel better for a second, okay. It's okay, you can look at me. My name is Jens Peter. I go by Jens, or by Jens Peter, or by JP. It's up to you. Yeah, laptop. I have for you today the 10 Kids App Commandments. And I have only the 10 Kids App Commandments because I can't use my hands very much right now. I have a tendinosis, tendinitis, something like that. My wife was kind enough to type this up, this keynote up for me. I would have loved to have images there for you, graphs, all that kind of stuff. I love that stuff myself in that presentation. But I give you the 10 Commandments only. This is a little poem that I wrote based on a song by Notorious B.I.G. You've heard of it? Notorious B.I.G., Biggie Smalls. The late Biggie, you're familiar with him, the greatest rapper that ever lived. He wrote the 10 Crack Commandments. Very useful stuff if you're looking to get into that business. I hear you're looking to get into the kids' app business. You're probably already in it. Hopefully these rules will be helpful to you. So I'll start by reading from the poem. I've been in this game since '96, entertaining kids through taps and clicks. So I made up these rules for you to follow. Get your chips in the game, not your pockets hollow. When we get to the number part of the rule, will you just help me out and yell it out? So when I go like this, you go number 1. Thank you. So your apps aren't wanted. Let's take a look at the core of that content. Listen now, this is my main concern. Is it something you want kids to know, or is it something they want to learn? The first will make your apps cheesy. So go for the latter, it will make the sell easy. So let me just talk a little bit about that. As I see it, there's 2 ways to look at children. There's the old way, which I think is incorrect, and that is to look at children like a vessel that is empty, tabula rasa, to be filled with information whenever they're ready. So at this age you pour in the purple, and at this age you pour in the pink, at that age you pour in the gray. The way humans and kids work, which I think is a more correct way of looking at humans, is I see us as learning machines. We're not machines, but animals. What sets us apart from the rest of the animals is that we're great at learning. Hopefully we stay great at learning. But kids are fantastic at learning. There needs to be one catalyst, however. And that catalyst is interest. If kids are interested in something, they can learn anything. Fast, well, and they learn it for life. So, your job as an educator is not to come with a curriculum, with a set of ideas, and try to cram that into children's heads. That is a violent... You understand? That's serious stuff. What you need to do, your job as an educator, is to ask children, what do they want to learn? Ask each child that. Isn't it tragic that you can go through 12 years of education? Someone will talk at you for hours, days, months, years. Never will someone ask you, what do you want to learn? That's a tragedy. Don't take part in that.
Number two.
Thank you. Skip the VO and shut your mouth. Don't talk too much, they'll figure it out. Kids don't want you telling them what the world's all about. So there's a couple of things in this rule. Let me first talk about interface a little bit. Interface is important, but what is more important is the content, the promise of fun. If that promise of fun is clear, the interface doesn't matter. Kids will figure it out. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a good interface. You should. You should do lots of testing and make sure that interface is easy to use. But if you put the front up first, kids will get to it. It just needs to be clear that there is fun. When you don't really believe that what you have is that fun, you start talking about it. You start explaining it. And you're breaking that promise that you made of fun right away. I'll talk a little bit more about this in rule number 4. And now we're ready for
Number 3.
Thank you. What's the feeling going to be? Skip the tap on the shoulder and be attaboy. Make him angry, happy, sad, get emotional. A lot of apps right now are skill and drill apps. I know that Warren thinks this is okay sometimes. I don't agree. I don't think you should be doing that. You're replicating the school experience. Someone presenting something to you, saying, do this, you get a star. That is boring. That is death. You want someone to place with your app, to feel alive. When you feel alive, when you're feeling something, you're happy, you're laughing, you're crying, you're so angry you want to smack something. You need to replicate, to have people feel that when you're playing with your apps. The way you do this is you think of the situation and the feeling that the child is going to have when they play with the app. And then you have everything in that app point towards that feeling. The characters' faces, the environment, the music, the sounds, the interaction, how it pops. And that's how you get emotional. And now we're ready for?
Number 4. 5.
Oh! 5. Number 4, okay. This is where it gets a little sensitive. Book and film folk, please don't ignore me. Interactive ain't the place for you to tell a story. That screen's for touching. Please don't bore me. Okay, I know there's a lot of people with background in film and television and books. You can take those dreams and project them onto this medium. A lot of people are attracted to apps for the wrong reason. Not for the core of what an app is, but for peripheral things, such as ease of publishing, ease of distribution, ease of charging. That's peripheral stuff. So let's look for a second just at the difference between linear media and interactive media. With linear media, you see something happen in front of you. You see an explosion. You read about it, so it's happening in your head, but you have no control over it. You're a spectator. With interactive media, the important word is interactive. You're doing something. You're making that explosion happen. You're likely to be able to go back and change something about it and make the explosion bigger or louder. So when a child starts up an app, you're promising that they're going to get to do something. If you go there and tell a story, you're breaking that promise. You can't do that. I used to believe in interactive storytelling. I was very interested in it about 15 years ago. Then I've been more skeptical about it. And just recently, they've started to think that maybe there is a future for storytelling and interactive media. I haven't looked at many ebooks, but I have looked at some. There's only one that I really like, and that is the monster at the end of this book. That's the one that my daughter comes back to. I thought about why that book works. And the reason is the interactive parts are fun, not despite of the story, but because of the story. Because Grover tells you you can't do it, it makes the interaction action fun. The more he says you can't do it, the more fun it is to do it. If you're going to do an app, I don't suggest that you hire writers. You need very little writing in apps, if you ask me. But if you do, in any case, hire a writer, you should tell them that I want every word that you write to make the interactive part that's going to come after more fun. And cut away everything else. I think that's the future of interactive storytelling. And we go with
Number 6.
Hi. Sorry, that was me. Kill your darlings and do not cry. Fall in love with a character. It's a no-no. He was great in your first game. Yeah, so there's so many things that little bear can't do. Build your company around him, and so can't you. Unless he has a TV show, let him loose. Have the limit be the sky, not a bear or a moose. So the moose is no reference to you guys. It rhymes with loose. Yeah, you're not doing this. You're not breaking this rule. So this is a problem with a lot of people who enter interactive media for the first time. They come up with a character, and they think it's the best character. I liken that to your first boyfriend or girlfriend. You all remember that. You thought they were the best thing, and you were so heartbroken when they left you. Talking out of experience, although this was 20 years ago. Then you realize there's a million other people in the world. Same thing with your character. You're going to think, this is the best. It worked so great for this game. You're going to make another game that's going to work almost as good. And then the third game is going to work a little worse. Disney, Nickelodeon, the big guys, they don't stick to one character. You come up with new stories, new characters. And so should you. To really drive home this point, let me explain why in another way. I'm going to use some mathematics. People say that there's no new ideas in the world. I don't agree with that, but what they mean is a new idea is just two ideas combined into a new one. So Steve Jobs' idea about the book that has a radio connection and is connected to a database, that's three ideas, right? Put into one. It's vision for the laptop, for the iPad. Let's say, for simplicity's sake, that you're working with 100 ideas. There's 100 ideas in the world. That's an understatement, I believe. But just for math's sake. If you can combine any of those two ideas into one new one, you have 10,000 ideas. If you start with one idea, you have to use that one idea. You have 99 possibilities. So you're severely limiting yourself. That idea could be your character. Don't get stuck with that character. People often ask us, what's your main character? And I say, we have none, and I don't foresee us having a main character.
Number 6.
Make up new tricks. Break the stereotype of what a game should be. And kids will be forever thankful to thee. You'll have your brain to thank while you're laughing at the bank. All the way to the bank. So this is about innovating, and there's a plethora of books about how to innovate, but kids will really appreciate it if you present something new to them. They love ideas, and they can tell a new idea from very far. I have no great advice for you on how to be innovative, but maybe one little piece would be to look outside of the App Store for inspiration, and bring that inspiration into the App Store.
Number 787.
I have a clicking problem. This one won't please you. Might send you into a seizure. Don't get stuck on that feature. Don't worry if some details look like crap. Kids' imaginations will bridge that gap. So I had to have a little bit about the process of making apps. Features are a very dangerous thing to have in your apps. You should look at every feature as a potential black hole. Carefully step over. If you feel your foot getting sucked into there, pull it out quick. Humans have a tendency to focus on something and do that great. And there's going to be a lot of people in your team who are professionals, hopefully. And they're going to want to make things as good as possible. But if you forget about that big vision, you might get stuck. I'll give you an example from hair salon. I thought the touching the hair would be very important. So we worked for about 2 weeks on one strand of hair, combing that. How does that feel? And we weren't happy. But our producer had the wisdom enough to say, guys, you need to keep going with this. And so we built the scissors, we built the hair blower, we built the spray, the characters, their expressions, and then we realized, okay, maybe that combing part wasn't the whole app. And we felt like we had something great. We could totally release that.
Number 8.
This and the last rule does relate. It's the opposite. It's about making it great. Make production value high if you can afford it. Competition is fierce. You want your game noticed. VC's funding fools. Ain't nobody out for lunch. So if you have the muscles, pack that punch. This is just to counteract the 7th rule. But it's not 2010. You can't just put something out there that sort of works and have people download it. Doing a great app today, the minimum viable product that you need is a pretty good product today to make it. It takes hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars to do it. So don't go in there with your own money. Don't take that risk. The App Store is a way too risky place to invest your own money. Work with someone who has a bank account where $100,000 won't break them, and who believes in you as much as you believe in yourself.
Number 9.
Thank you. Don't let kids go with nothing to show. Give them a reason to show off their work. And when their friends see it, they too will go berserk. It's kind of self-explanatory. Humans are social animals. We love to tell each other about experiences we had. Even more, we like to show things to each other that we found or have made. So if you let children create something in your app that becomes meaningful to them, they will be the best advocate and salesman for your product.
Number 10.
This one's hardest for grown men. Test often with kids and respect the result. Your ego will take those comments as an insult. But business ain't personal, and this much is true. That kid in the back is smarter than you when it comes to what you do. I shouldn't have to say this in front of you guys, but I know some people here today that are high in the charts do not test their apps with kids. That to me is crazy. Actually, it's not crazy, it's lazy. Crazy is unforgivable. No, it's the other way around. Crazy is forgivable. That can get you to new places. Lazy is unforgivable, that will get you nowhere. You have to test with kids. Because you were a kid in 83 or in 93, it's not the same thing as being a kid in 2013. Also, just because you were a kid, you're not a kid anymore. You don't remember what it was like to be a kid so much. You had so many experiences since then. You're in a power position now. It's a completely different outlook at the world. Your arms work. I mean, not mine, but hopefully your arms work. You know how to swipe and do all these things. And we test all the time at Toca Boca. I didn't before I started Toca Boca, I'm ashamed to say. I would test at the end of the production of the website. But we do it all the time, and you learn so much from it. And those are the 10 app commandments.